ways. I know how they feel. They're great. They're loyal. They want to bang for their buck.
Welcome, everybody, to a special Zoom edition, episode 41 of the Larschcast. It's me, Gulzar, your producer, and on the roundtable we got Nav, Bradley, and Carter. Today we'll be discussing our lives during the quarantine, NFL draft, and the Canucks. With our hosts, TJ and Sat.
Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hope you're ready for the next episode. Hey.
Welcome everybody to the Larschcast first episode on Zoom. We have joined the Zoom party, and in this virtual landscape of COVID-19, you know, we were a little late to the party, but we've fashionably arrived on time, I think, for what's going to be a new adventure for us. On Zoom, you get to see our faces, our live reactions when we give our hot takes. And you know, it's the Larschcast. There's quite a few hot takes on here. And I'm going to introduce everybody one more time. We got our producer, Nanda. Say hi. That's
What's up?
Good. Say hey so you can bring your face to the screen. Gulu, go ahead. There you go. Brad, say hi.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Sat, my co-host. Sat, go ahead.
How's it
Dab
going?
DeSange.
Guys, what's up?
And Carter Olive, or he likes to call himself Contest Carter.
Oh,
So I just want to start off this episode. I want to ask you guys how you guys have been. It's been, you know, it's been an interesting few weeks, almost a month, I think, since quarantine down. How you guys been? How are you handling it? What's the situation like at home for you guys? We'll start off with you, Nap. Go ahead.
it hasn't been too bad. My wife's working from home, and I still go to work because I work in I'm an essential service, so it hasn't been too hard. It's actually kind of been nice to be home with the kid the days I'm off, and though being with the wife when I'm off on my 4 days is kind of being a bit difficult. But again, you know what? It's all right, man. It hasn't been that bad. We're not really. We can go out. You can go for walks, go for bike rides. I actually start rollerblading again, TJ, which is kind of fun. picked up rollerblades from my mom's house. Picked up my stick, so I kind of go around in the cul-de-sac and do some rollerblading. But it hasn't been that bad, man. Other people in the other parts of the world have it probably much worse than we do. So yeah, it's been all right, man.
Let me ask you this, as a fellow father. We both have little ones at home. What do you feel, you know, about the extra time you get to spend with your kid at this early stage of their life too?
It's been fun, man. I think he might be a little bit confused why mom and dad really never go to work, especially mom's always home. It's kind of neat. You kind of see things. I feel like he's gotten like smarter over the last month. I think he's learning a lot more words because we're constantly just trying to like speak to him in English and Punjabi, trying to teach him both languages as much as we can.
That does happen when the kid ages, you know that.
Well, no, but just like I feel like in the last month, it's kind of like really picked up, right? Like words, like, and I was afraid the other day. I was sitting here, I was watching something, and I kind of said a word I probably shouldn't have said, and he started repeating it.
Oh, no way.
And my wife was upstairs. I'm like, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that, right?
Well, now you got to tell us what the word is. It's okay.
Well, let's just say afterwards, I'm like, no, Dylan, it's a hockey puck. A puck. It's a puck. And then you say goal, okay, a puck. So I'm just like, I got my ass covered just in case he listens to him say, I'm like, no, I think he's saying puck, sweetie. I think he's saying puck. He's not saying the other word, right? So yeah, you got to be careful. I think he's at that age now. Anything, he's like a sponge. He's picking up things. So yeah, it's kind of getting scary what you say around him.
He's not awake right now, is he? He's not listening.
No, he's gone to bed. He'll be up in about an hour asking to come into bed with us. So
Sat, how about you? Since you started talking there, how you been? What's life like for you? And you know, take us through your quarantine.
Yeah, you know, it's been actually busy. I mean, I'm still going to work. I'm an essential service.
Hold on, Sat. You got to speak a little louder here.
Sorry, I'm a bit. I step back from the computer here, but yeah, no, I'm still going to work, so it's good in that sense. It's busy though because everyone's working away from the office as much as possible. I spend a lot of time on the phone, so finding it hard to actually do work as opposed to just talking on the phone all the time. But it's good. I mean, my wife works from home and she works from her office when she's in. Other than that, you know, try to stay indoors as much as possible, play some board games, do puzzles and whatnot, keep yourself busy, keep your mind strong and sharp. So that's pretty much it, man.
Yeah, no, that sounds pretty routine. It looks like you haven't had a mental breakdown though. That's good.
Not yet. We're almost there, man. We're almost there.
Yeah. How's the marriage is still good though, right? Because you guys don't have kids, so you're not locked down.
Great.
I worry about some of these. I worry about some of these relationships in quarantine. Some can be, benefit from spending the extra time together, and I'm sure others not so much. But
I feel there's going to be a lot of single parents in about 9 months. A lot of pregnancy and a lot of like, I'm done.
A lot of pregnancy and a lot of single parents. That's right.
Yeah, they were like, divorce, we're done, can't handle this.
We've come to see on the Larschcast here when Nav makes his predictions, his bold predictions, they kind of come true. What was the other bold prediction you made recently? Gronkowski's return.
Did I not call it? I was actually trying to look for the clip from one of our old pods there to see where I can find it, because I actually wanted to talk shit to our former member of the Larschcast, James, because every time he says something, and he's
still a contributor. He's just not
a contributor. And you know what? And I was telling Brad earlier, I love James. He's a great guy. He's a diehard Patriots fan, but even a broken clock is right twice a day. His percentage is lower than that.
Okay, we'll get back to that.
He's not kidding.
Let's keep going around the table. Brad, how's your quarantine life? And I know you've been keeping busy on Instagram. I see you're there sitting in the section 326. How's the atmosphere at today's game?
It's pretty damn quiet. Not gonna lie, but yeah, I've been chilling at home, just making TikToks a lot. I still got to go to work for now, but looks like I'm gonna get laid off in the next week or so, based on how many flights are coming out of YVR. Not that many, so
fights or flights?
We'll see. What's that?
You say fights or flights?
Flights. Yeah, but yeah, there's not many flights right now, so I'm just chilling for now. I'll probably get laid off soon. Just make more TikToks, make more Instagram posts for us.
Yeah,
Instagram lives, etc. Have one with Nav and James coming up, hopefully.
Yeah, we want to see that Nav versus James. It's long overdue, but no, you've been doing good work with the Instagram videos and the clips and the segments of players you've been putting together. So kudos to you, everybody watching or listening here. Bradley Thomas is the so-called guru behind the Larschcast Instagram as of late. He's doing so well. In fact, the TSN and Bar Down's own Grady Sass had to come and ask him some advice. So it tells you the quality of content that he's got there. But let's move on to Carter, his fellow Ladner. I don't know, what do you guys call them? Ladnerites? What do you guys call each other over there?
Oh, yeah, rednecks.
What is it?
We're actually rednecks with matching sweaters. Check it
Yeah,
out.
buddy, let's go.
Oh, Brad's looks fake though. It's still faded.
Mine's just in worse color. It's the same sweater. We bought it at the same time.
Listen,
We were actually at what were we watching?
We bet on the UFC fights.
Khabib, on the Khabib
Khabib's fight, and we won money, so we decided to go to the Marshalls and buy matching sweaters.
While we were ham, we went right next door from Brew House.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are
Brad in the Larschcasters section there. Come on, those are cheap tickets. You could afford those cards.
I know. It's tough.
It's okay. How's your quarantine life been?
Busy, very, very busy. In the next 3 months here, I'll be launching 3 new companies. Even right now, I'm trading on the Forex. I could share my screen. It's very stressful, but no, it hasn't really changed a whole lot for me. I'm still busy as ever, and I'm actually just looking forward to, kind of getting the podcast revamped here, more content, more connections. I'm looking forward to this opportunity where, NHL players have so much time off and so much time on their hands. This is a really great way for us to segue into connecting with these guys through video games or calls, or even just, private messages where now they have more time to speak to the public.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool.
They do have more time, but where this differs a little bit from like a lockout situation is they don't have more control. So they're still under the same obligations of their contract to go through the team. So you're right. They're sitting at home. They're wanting to get involved. Maybe they want to just chill, but we have to still go. The loopholes. Sorry, the normal.
channels.
Channels that we have to travel to get to them. They're still. I feel like I've tried to reach out to certain players. There's still a bit of a challenge there.
Right. I think
they have to go through the team. The team really would rather these players.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, the way their agents have done up the contract, the way to connect with these guys is very rigid, right?
Yeah.
The structure is it's so tough to get in touch. But I also feel like, when we did the streaming with Thatcher Demko, that was a really great opportunity for us to kind of get our name into the Canucks roster. And I think that our listeners can really look forward to some big things here with the Canucks team.
Except our name is pretty much the Thatcher Demko basically played 1 versus 2 against the Larschcast and then beat us.
You guys had no teamwork. That's the problem.
Hey, we'll get to that. I know Gulu wants to say his piece. I'll give Gulu his chance. He's coming up next. But Carter, I just want to finish with you. By any chance, one of the companies that you started out, is it a hair gel company, or that's not your niche there?
No, I just don't shower ever.
Okay.
Should I just let it flow a
Or
little
a
bit?
comb company. You never know. They're pretty.
I don't think they have running water in Ladner. I think it's more of a well system, so they got to preserve the water that they have left in that town, right? What are you gonna do?
Hey, actually, the golf course just opened back up, so there must be some water.
There's gonna be
A lot of
certain
farmland,
channels
irrigation,
that are
right?
opening up again, but
Yeah.
Full of water right now.
So we'll finish up here with the intros with Gulu. Take us through your quarantine, Gulu. I know you're a busy man, like Carter. You got multiple companies, so I don't think you had too much time on your hands here. But how's your quarantine been?
I actually have a lot of time in my hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you supposed to get a business that's away from home? Like, a lot of the entities I work with, they're shut down. Like with the city of Vancouver, most of their staff are on the COVID response task force, and they've shifted over their priorities significantly. At the shop, nobody wants to come by. When I say the shop, I'm referencing a jewelry store my family opened in 1985. Who wants to buy jewelry during this time? Actually, gold is at $81,000 per kilo, which is the highest it's been since I've been alive. So it's extremely expensive. And but the restaurant, there's nobody to serve because people aren't allowed to go sit at restaurants. So, I'm just chilling. The most exciting thing that's happened in my life over the last couple of weeks is getting my ass kicked by Thatcher Demko and Eddie Lack.
Okay, so we're gonna get into that right after this question. I gotta ask you that, like, when it comes to weddings or people in the jewelry industry that have, they provide a lot of jewelry for weddings or engagements. Have you had any requests for refunds or because of tough?
Nobody's gonna ask for a refund right now because they're
They're not gonna get it.
like 2 months ago is like all of a sudden 25% more expensive than it was back then.
Well, what I mean by that is a lot of the wedding vendors. I know jewelry is a separate entity.
Yeah, jewelry's different. Jewelry's different.
It's different, which is why I was asking. But a lot of vendors and
that's services. Services are having to give people their money back because they can't.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Now let's get into. I know you want to get something off your chest. Go ahead. You can rip me all you want. How was the experience against Thatcher Demko and Eddie Lack? Where did we go wrong?
Playing NHL 20.
I'm over it now. I hold no ill will against you, TJ. But I'll say this: you keep telling me that I'm mediocre. Not a single person in this group chat has beat me once. All right?
Okay, hold on. What if this group chat is full of shitty players?
Oh, I could beat
It's
you.
not far from the truth. But
Okay.
if
I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest.
Speaking, because this term mediocre, we love it.
Nav isn't bad. Nav's one of the best.
Okay. What I was
he hits
trying
it penalty every 30 seconds, but he's still good.
I'm
I
an
was
aggressive
trying to
player.
say to you, Lou,
Ripping and hooking?
It's
we
always
played.
looking, yeah.
Well, what I would do is as soon as
Okay,
you
go
go by
ahead,
me,
go
I would
ahead.
just as soon as he tripped me or hit me, I just slash him and make sure he's not getting an easy goal. You got to earn those goals, Gulu. Unfortunately for me, every time I'd hook him, he'd earn those goals and score about 7 of them. But that's another story.
I still gotta play you, Lulu. I still gotta play. I Xbox though. You have Xbox, right?
I got Xbox, yeah. I got Xbox and I got PlayStation. So if anybody out there that's listening to this wants to see if they can beat me, because none of these guys have been able to beat me. If you want to be able to beat me, shoot me a message on Twitter. And
I think, yeah.
Okay, so if they beat you, then do they get anything or what? Discount on jewelry or what?
I don't mind playing money games. It's not a big deal to me.
Money.
Yeah. Or we can.
Okay, enough about that stuff. Let's jump into.
Hold up. By the way, I just want to add this in. I beat Brad there in the bottom right corner there. I beat him 14-5. Just want to throw that out there.
He scored 2 touchdowns.
It went from 5-3, and then I literally did what Nav did, just started taking penalties trying to catch up. And it went from 5-3 to 14-5 so fast.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie.
Brad, you gotta take the mic out of your mouth there, buddy. You're like back it up a
What do you
little.
mean? You guys can't hear it?
No, we can hear you.
We can't hear you.
Let him
We
chill.
can't
He's leaning
hear you with
down.
that dick in your mouth.
Hey.
That's pretty much what I was getting at, Carter.
Brad, I'll leave it at this. When my 2-year-old kid walked by the TV, he's like, "Oh, touchdown!" Like 14. Good game though. Good game.
Okay, that's a good segue now. Touchdown. Let's talk about the NFL draft that just happened.
Let's not.
That came today. I know Nav, as a Green Bay Packers fan, I'm very interested to hear how you feel.
Jordan Love, baby.
But Brad, you gotta back away from the mic. Your static is really loud.
What?
Say something, Brad.
Oh, the Packers fucked up and took Jordan Love.
That's better. There you go. Yes, they did F up, and I agree with Brad there. But I want to start with the first 3 picks, or basically the first couple picks of the draft. At number 1, Joe Burrow. Any surprise there?
No.
That was the most obvious pick in the NFL history, maybe. But what do you think about Joe Burrow?
What's that?
Who had the pick and what position was the guy?
Well, Joe Burrow, he is the quarterback. Basically, he was the unanimous number 1 pick in the draft for the quarterback.
LSU.
Yeah, he played with LSU, and he went to the Cincinnati Bengals, who, as we know, have Andy Dalton. I think he's under contract still. Is he?
Is he 45?
No, I think he's done his contract.
His contract's over, so basically, Joe Burrow can come into this position and take over right from the get-go. He's a great. I don't know if you guys watched that national championship game.
He's a franchise changer. He's a franchise changer, man.
He's gonna be successful year 1.
I think
They've got a really tough team. Like, they've got Joe Mixon, who's great. It's tough because with a good running back like Joe Mixon, how do you have a 2-way offense?
No,
right?
but I think
No, dude, they have no offensive line. Mixon's not going to get anything.
That's it. That's the issue that I was gonna say. Like, I had Mixon in my fantasy pool last year, so I kind of learned. For a running back and a quarterback, you need to have a good offensive line, especially for a rookie coming in. I don't care how good he is. He needs protection. He needs some time to throw that ball, right? He is not going to get any protection on that offensive line, so he's going to get hit. So they need to spend
I think
some
that's
money.
I think that's why the Jets drafted like they did too, right? Like, they drafted a couple offensive tackles just to supplement Bell.
Yeah, they need to.
That's the thing, and now, I mean, both of you, the offensive line is a concern for any rookie, especially a rookie who's going to start.
Time out. Did Brad fall off his chair?
What the hell are you doing, man?
I think Brad went to the locker room, in the Canuck locker room there, that he's got a video of. I think he's sucking dick going this way.
Okay, well, how about Brad? Can you mute your mic while you fix that, and then we'll get you back in here. Okay, so Nav and Carter, you're both right about Joe Burrow. There are concerns, but there are also strengths with the Bengals offense. You know, having Joe Mixon, it's a huge strength for any quarterback.
And AJ Green.
Yeah, well, AJ Green, he may not come back. He's under a contract situation.
No, I think he'll be back.
He's also
one more
very
year.
banged up.
One more
It's
year.
not so much Green, but having that mobile running back that can catch and also run through the tackles for you. He's an open channel for you guys on screens and can protect the quarterback because he knows how to block. But Nav, the thing is, you're right. If Joe Burrow is going to come in and play as a rookie, he needs an offensive line to protect him.
Yeah, needs to protect him.
Offensive lines are the key to any team success, and I'm with Nav on this. I think he'll struggle, but it's like he's expected to struggle. He's okay. If he struggles, it's fine. It's a learning curve.
I think what's going to happen is next year, because the Bengals are still going to be a shitty team just because the offensive line's not there. I think next year their goal is going to be just to get an offensive line. And we've seen in the past, I mean, the Niners did it. Other teams have done it where you could kind of redo your offensive line. Yeah, the Saints have done it. You can redo your offensive line in basically one draft and a couple free agents. So I think that's going to be something that they're going to do for 2021. So, I mean, they're on the right track, though. They got a lot of weapons, though. They got a lot of offensive weapons.
It's also interesting to see what happens next with the rest of the draft because you can still find offensive linemen here and now, like this draft. Mm-hmm. So say the Bengals load up the next 2-3 picks, offensive linemen, and you know, say they pick like 3 straight offensive linemen. So now you're looking at Joe Burrow's situation. Oh, maybe he's going to be okay. Like maybe he'll have like they'll go 6-10 or at the best, and maybe like it won't just be a losing situation. But it all depends on the offensive line. Let's move on from Joe Burrow though. Any other surprises in the order of the quarterbacks that the top 3 that went out? Joe Burrow, second quarterback off the board was Tua.
Well, of course, the Chargers drafted a white guy. right?
Worst
they had
case
to.
scenario, I think Justin Herbert going to the Chargers. But what are your thoughts, real quick, Brad? Let's see if your mic is back. Let's test you out here.
Yeah, it's good now.
Yeah, you're better now. You're not. You've
Like,
removed the object from your mouth.
Yeah, I didn't think the Miami needed to take Tua. I think they could have grabbed Herbert later.
Yeah.
I think Herbert's the better of the two, in my opinion. Miami could have grabbed another.
Well, why do you say that? Like, elaborate on them.
He's a little bigger. He throws better. I don't know. And also the injury, too, with Tua. I just don't think that Miami needed to grab a quarterback that early with what was there. Like, the only other team that was taking a quarterback was the Chargers and apparently the Packers. But the Chargers were the only other one.
It was well known that, like, Tua's closer to being able to play than Love, who the Packers drafted. And also,
Herbert.
it was well known that the Chargers were interested in Justin Herbert. So I think you're right. Miami screwed up. They should have waited. Like,
They had no need to. There's so many good players on the board they could have grabbed that would have made a big difference to their team because they're the type of team that they need help everywhere.
Yeah, they could have taken Tua with that 26th pick, which they traded to the Packers, who the Packers used to draft. What's his first name?
Jordan, is it? I don't know. I
Jordan
stopped
Love?
watching. Jordan Love. He ain't
Jordan
again.
Love, Nav, your thoughts? Okay, hold on. Well, let me say my thoughts for everybody's thoughts for that matter. When it comes to the Packers, you have Aaron Rodgers. Everybody expects him to be great, but he's getting older. And it's like the baby elephant in the room that people haven't noticed yet, but it's still a big, big elephant. It's not a little kid. He is getting older. I think he's being overshadowed in the age department by Drew Brees, who's a bit older, who's a bit flashier, got more accolades, got the number.
Oh my God! Here we go.
Also throws more interceptions.
Got the most touchdowns thrown in the NFL season, most yards thrown.
Blah blah blah
You guys know
blah.
the story, but that's why it was a surprise for everybody that the Packers are picking a quarterback. Not just picking a quarterback, but they traded 4 spots up to get that quarterback. What are your thoughts on this pick, and how do you feel?
Well, it's been a few hours. See, I can understand why they did it. Because if you look back in history, they did the same thing with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre like 20 years ago, right? Or more than that. I can understand why they did it. But the problem is NFL football is one of those kind of sports is there's not any long rebuilds. There don't need to be if you're a good organization. Rodgers needed help. Rodgers got these guys to the NFC Championship game last year without any help. You think you can't give this guy – you think they didn't have a meeting with Aaron Rodgers and said, okay, we're going to get you some help. We're going to get you a wide receiver. We're going to get you somebody across the field of Devontae Adams. And now you basically kind of slap him in the face and say, no, we didn't get you any help. We just got your replacement in 2 years. So if I'm Aaron Rodgers, you're sitting there thinking, like, what the hell? Like Tampa Bay, you look at Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay. Like, what was the biggest reason last year Tom Brady lost? He had very few weapons. So what does they do? They trade him in Tampa. Tampa even got Gronk out of retirement to come and play for him. That's what good organizations do.
Now, I'll ask you this question. What if they had this meeting with Rodgers and Rodgers said he didn't want to be there? What if he's like, I want to leave? Why don't you?
No,
There's
he
no way
doesn't.
he said. There's no way.
There's no way he said that, man.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. What if that's the case? You don't
No,
know.
it wouldn't happen because that's a contract that would be so impossible to trade.
That's a good take, Sat.
No, he's not going anywhere,
Hockey
man.
game.
Well, no, Rodgers is not going anywhere.
No, Rodgers ain't going anywhere. It's just to me as a fan, I'm frustrated. It's
Okay,
because
well,
give him some help. But
so hear me out now. There are a couple of reasons why, on top of that, it's a bad move that they made. Mainly is that you did it on day one, and you did it for, like, when you trade up for a quarterback, you're sending a message, especially your first round pick. Like, if it was the second round pick, they picked the quarterback, sure. If you picked a quarterback at the end of the draft, you didn't trade up for one, sure. But you traded up for a quarterback.
Yeah, but you know what? Here's the thing.
They said to Aaron Rodgers, like, hey, this is the guy that we want for the future. Oh, by the way, we're looking at the future right now. Like,
yeah, but here, TJ, guys, here's the thing. Do we know what was going on in the draft? There must be a reason. I mean, we can shit on the Packers all we want on that, but there's probably a reason they traded up. Maybe they heard something that, hey, somebody else is going to take them, right?
But no.
You don't know. You don't know because otherwise, to be honest, I'm frustrated with it, right? I'm frustrated with it, but
even going back to the reason, maybe they feared they traded up for 4 spots. Maybe they feared one of those teams, not Miami, because Miami drafted Tua. So 2 teams they're scared of might have taken
Seattle.
That means they're looking at
Seattle's not
this quarterback this year
Yeah.
that they want the plan in place this year to groom him under Rodgers. So that means that they only see 2 years more for Rodgers. That's the statement they're making, and I think it's a dangerous game they're playing. Like, you're messing with a
Don't piss him off, right? I don't know. I honestly, well, what did Brady do, right? Eventually, like, as an organization, as a Packer fan, there is going to come a time where you have to cut ties. You're going to
trade up to do it, dude.
But this guy's not ready to play. This guy, even Rodgers, once he kind of calms down, I'm sure is going to realize this guy's 3 years away, 4 years away.
They made the announcement that
thing,
they're
but it
ready.
sounds like you're arguing.
Like, two takes here, and I agree with Sad on this one. TJ, you're so fired up. It sounds like you're a Packers fan.
Well, actually, the truth is, I love giving Nav a hard time, and over the years, he's been able to do it with a lot of the statements that Breeze and the Saints have failed to make.
Right.
The Packers haven't really done anything because they've just been a failure. So it's harder to make.
Okay, so we made it past. We made it further than they have in the last 3 years. But okay, we're the failures.
Okay, enough about the Packers. Too much Packers talk. Brad,
Hold up.
Seahawks.
That's an interception coming.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. It looks like you guys are facing a rebuild, so get used to sitting down, buddy. Brad, talk about the Seahawks pick. Who did they pick, and how do you?
Jordan Brooks out of Texas Tech there. A linebacker. He's going to give Robbie Wagner some help, give us some insulation on defense. I like the pick. I thought we were going to take a running back. I really thought we were going to take Taylor from Wisconsin. That's why I was set. I was pretty set we were taking him. And then McKinney ended up sliding down there too, a safety. So that would have been interesting as well. But overall, I'm happy with the pick. I think tomorrow we're going to grab a running back or another offensive player. But, yeah, Brooks is going to come in right away and be an impact player for us. He fits well with our D, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Legion of Boom 2.0?
The Seahawks.
Not yet. It takes a lot to build a Legion of Boom, Carter.
Well, it takes a lot of stones to build a wall, too, but you got to start with a couple stones.
Yeah, you have to start somewhere. But the thing with Legion of Boom, there's just so many players in their prime and that were so elite at the same time. And I don't think it's very unlikely where I'm ever going to see a defense like that with Seattle.
Weren't you like 3 years old when they had the Legion of Boom?
No, dude, it was 2013. It was like 2013 to like 2017.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll finish up about on the Saints here. They drafted another guard. He plays.
We don't care about the Saints.
Caesar,
where do the Saints play? Who are they?
New Orleans, Louisiana. Come on now, get it right.
Who that?
Is New Orleans a state?
Are they a religious team?
Okay, boys, if you guys want to play boys games, there's a different Zoom meeting down the hall there, okay? So make sure you knock on the door. Teachers, don't interrupt class, guys.
Is it the one where you're showering? Hey, TJ, is it the one that Drew Brees is taking a shower in and then you want another one?
Okay, real quick, the Saints drafted Cesar Ruiz, another guard. He can play center. He actually, so I was reading up on him. He played 10 games, started 10 games as a freshman. So that's a pretty impressive feat. He actually finished his career as the top center prospect in the country. So I'm excited about him. I think they've been looking for the replacement to Max Unger too, since he retired in 2018. But at the same time, this guy can play all positions up front. The rich get richer is something I read as a review of what happened here. And it's true. The Saints were like top 5, offensive line last year, and they picked up the top center guard in the draft. So I think, the rich get richer. It's gonna be fun times in New Orleans.
It ain't gonna make any difference as long as what's his name, Drew Brees keeps throwing interceptions or fumbling the ball.
I know. Like the offensive line was
build a wall around him. Makes no difference. They can build a great wall of China around him.
How about this? When Aaron Rodgers throws an interception and Jordan Love is warming up on the sidelines.
I think Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, Jordan, go take some reps. And Aaron Rodgers is in the game.
Aaron Rodgers isn't going to throw any
can't wait.
Okay, because Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest QBs of all time.
Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest quarterbacks.
How much is
they have to draft his backup? His replacement had to be drafted. Not only that, they had to trade up to get him. All right.
When you're bonehead of a quarterback and stay healthy for a full year, come and talk to me.
Okay,
right?
we'll see what happens.
You or Breeze?
What's that?
Who has more hair, you or Drew Brees?
Actually, if you look real close, I
think he does. Actually, he's like.
I thought he was gonna give up the middle finger. I think he's.
I should have done that, but.
All right.
Okay, let's get off our team. So I just want to talk about some things that happened in the draft that were pretty interesting, and maybe we can talk about league trends. I want to mention that the fact Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs, who just the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, he posted a Twitter meme or GIF of the Shaq. Did you guys see that? He did the Shaq. He did the Shaq shimmy. And the reason he did that was because the Chiefs ended up drafting Clyde Edwards-Helaire, arguably the top running back in the draft. And he's the first running back off the board this year. They got him last in the draft. The best team in the league got potentially the best running back to bolster their offense. That's pretty scary, guys. I think
they're going to be Super Bowl champions multiple times for years to come.
Yeah, but I don't think that running back has as much implications for their team in the NFL as it would for fantasy. For fantasy football, that guy will be huge.
Yeah.
But for the Kansas City Chiefs themselves, they didn't really make that big deal difference.
Well, you know Andy Reid. You know Andy Reid. He doesn't like to use one back only. So
it's gonna be by committee.
Yeah,
but when he had
added a really talented back, arguably the best back this year. I know we all talk about running backs.
No, but guys, I don't agree with that. When he had Kareem Hunt, he was using him.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, if you have a good running back, he'll use them. Who did he have last year? He had a bunch of bums, right? McCoy wasn't very good. Williams.
No, that's a very good point.
Picked it up in the Super Bowl, obviously, but
when he had him, yeah. So
yeah, let's see. I mean, if he.
Well, they added a good back. That's the bottom line. The Super Bowl champs added a good back. Scary.
You know what you said earlier made no sense, but it makes sense now. The rich get richer. All right.
Another team that
I love it. He flipped it. I love it. Okay.
All right. Why is Kansas City?
Arizona. Arizona grabbing Simmons was really good for them too.
Talk about it.
I mean, they needed help on their line, and they added D-Hop this offseason too. Like, Arizona's for sure winning this offseason so far.
Well, they made a lot of good moves up front. They added to their wide receiver core. Who do they add there?
D-Hop.
What's that?
Hopkins.
No, besides Hopkins, they added. So you're right, Hopkins. There's another guy they added recently.
Don't they have an 80-year-old Fitzgerald still?
They have they have Hopkins, Fitzgerald, and who's their third receiver? I thought they.
But no, you
They
gotta realize.
added Kenyon Drake late in the season as a running
back.
back.
I think they added Kenyon Drake last year. No, but there's another guy. Anyways, Arizona Cardinals, they're looking good.
Sat, you look confused. If you want to know, 80-year-old Larry Fitzgerald, 80-year-old Larry Fitzgerald is the equivalent of Daniel and Henrik Stedin. He's too loyal. They try to trade him away. Say, hey, we'll trade you to contenders. Like, no, I stay. It's okay. No problem. I stay here. No problem.
Brad, are you worried about the Cardinals?
Am I worried about them? No. But like Nav and I were talking earlier, I think because of the new format where they're adding another team to the playoffs, I think the Cardinals are definitely in a good spot to make the playoffs this year. I don't think they're going to pass either Seattle or San Fran, but they're definitely a good spot to make the playoffs.
They could easily win at least 8 games, maybe 9, and now you're talking wild card. Right?
Well, you think of it this way, right? Who are the other wild card teams in the NFC? It's going to be maybe Philly will probably win the division.
Well,
Dallas.
Now you have to add Tampa Bay to the mix.
Tampa Bay.
The Saints and Tampa Bay. So there's 2 there.
Yeah.
Then you got the Niners, the Seahawks. Then you got 4. Then you add the Cardinals to the mix. Now you're at 5.
Cardinals to the mix. I think the Rams are done.
And you had the Packers and the
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
That's 6. That's 7.
Possibly the Bears.
Then you had Dallas.
Nah, Bears are done. I think Dallas is going to be worse than they were last year because they've lost players. Right?
One of the 8 there.
No.
That's what it takes right now. Then there's a 9th seed that's going to be there now, right?
It'll be interesting. I think it's going to be a bit more entertaining. If there's a football season.
Just to wrap up the NFL draft talk, a couple other things I want to note. We don't have to really talk about it, but this year in the first round, compared to last year, there were 6 wide receivers taken this year, and there were only 2 last year. And there were also 5 cornerbacks taken this year, and there was only 1 last year. So there are a couple interesting trends. I think
that's going for offense, right?
Yeah, the offense, I think DK Metcalf also had a big year last year for the Seahawks. A lot of people looked at wide receivers a little bit better. Marquise Brown last year had a great year with the Ravens. I think, teams were looking at these guys like there could be people making, game changers here in the first round that they want to support their quarterbacks. So a couple interesting trends. Let's switch to the Canucks here. I know we just heard somebody mention the Sedin. Nav was talking about the Sedins. It's a good segue. Sat, why don't you take us through what's been happening with the Canucks lately, and introduce.
Sat.
Yeah,
can't wait to hear
what's been
this.
happening with the Canucks lately in the hockey?
We haven't heard you talk for a while, Sat. So I missed your voice.
Well, nothing's really happening with the Canucks in the NHL right now. What the hell do you want to hear, right? I mean, they keep talking about how they.
Pedersen
Start
grew
with
big,
today's
guys.
news. Start with today's news. Rick Dollywell sent out a tweet today.
Yeah, okay. Rick Dollywell sent out a tweet that the IIHF and the NHL are going to extend their agreement, right? So, what does that mean? I mean, does that have any impact for the Canucks young guns? I don't know. I mean, it's the same for every team, right? So, I know we want to touch on Nils Hoglander and see what's going to happen with him, but I mean, I'll ask you guys what you think about him and how his season went and what you think, he's going to do for next year. But I think even if he signs with the Canucks, he's not going to play for the team. I don't know, Brad, do you think any different, or do you think he's coming to Vancouver in September?
No, he's not. He's not ready yet. He needs another year, possibly more. Maybe he goes to Utica next year. He hits, I don't know. They have options with him. Like, the news doesn't make a huge difference for him with the position he's in. It would make a bigger difference for someone like Podgolzin if we were able to get him out of that contract. But
the KHL, that's different though.
Yeah, exactly. So if it was something like that, it'd be a little bit bigger for us. But the news just it furthers the process a little bit. It's like how you're able to sign a CHL player while they're in the CHL still, and then send them back down there, right? It's the same idea, I guess.
What about you, TJ?
Well, I think Brad pretty much summed it up the way I feel. I don't think he's ready to come and make an impact at all. I think what's going to happen, Hoglander is going to have an exciting, whatever that is, we don't really know when that's going to happen here, guys. If they finish the season here late, July, August, they might scrap the first half of next year. We might have a preseason late around Christmas. So
no, I don't think they'll scrap the first half of next year. They're going to have a full season. It's just going to be starting a bit later.
It's going to be jam-packed.
You never know. It's probably easier for them with everything that's gone on to finish this season and make the next year shorter.
I don't want to speculate because
no, well, Bill Daly had said a couple weeks ago. He goes, no matter what happens with this year, next year they're going to play a full season. He said
no matter what, they're going to play a full season.
Well, I mean, obviously, pending this frigging pandemic, right? If something happens,
so that does offer some clarity. Now, I'm glad you mentioned that. So if they want to extend, if they want to play this year, you need 3 months. 2.5 months.
Okay, but they have this new schedule for next year that they've actually been talking about for a long time, where a team comes in and instead of playing one away game, they play 3, and they just stay overnight, and they have 3.
But even with a condensed regular season that you need to finish, I mean, you're making good points, but they still need to have a regular playoffs.
They're going to do it.
No, this is for next year, TJ.
Next year.
Oh, you're talking about next year. They'll
next year.
Oh, they'll speed up the schedule.
They'll speed up the schedule.
Oh,
so
okay.
They'll have the same team.
Oh, sorry, I didn't. Yeah, I was.
Well, what I had heard is that they're going to get rid of the All-Star game. They're going to get rid of the bye weeks for all the teams.
Okay.
So that's 2 weeks right there. And again, it'll be a condensed season. They're probably going to start in November if they end up playing this season, right?
So back to the point about Nils Hoglander. So they're going to have a full season next year. So what I think is going to happen with this kid, and we've seen it with a lot of different, exciting prospects, or even guys that come out of nowhere. I think he's going to come in and he's going to have a very exciting training camp. He's gonna stand out for all the media clips that come out. You're gonna see things in practice when they're not even scrimmaging. He's gonna be playing around with the puck. The social media is gonna blow up. The hype is gonna be crazy, and everybody's gonna be pro Nils Hoglander. But during the game, he'll look a little out of place at sometimes. He might look good sometimes. He'll put up some points, but at the end of the day, what we're gonna see is an exciting prospect who's not ready to make the NHL yet. And he's already told, I don't know if he told. His agent told Rick or where the communication came, but he's already said that he'd be ready to go to the AHL and to earn his stripes. Now, that's pretty big for a European player to say, I'm ready to go to the AHL and do the dirty work, which a lot of these players, we could talk about Goldobin, and a lot of players that don't.
He played there.
He played there forever.
You know what? One thing.
What do you expect from him? Even Dahlin played for a bit, and then he wasn't doing anything.
Yeah,
right?
but the work doesn't mean 1 year. Like the work is if you sign up to go down this path.
No, but hey, no.
Go as long as it takes.
Here's the thing. Not even forget about Utica or whatever. Even when he was in San Jose or where was he? He was a San Jose prospect.
Ottawa.
Yeah, San Jose Shark.
No, he was San Jose Shark.
Dahlin is Ottawa.
No, Goldobin.
Okay.
So he was playing in their minor league system for a while too. So I mean, you can say what you want about him. I don't think he's an NHL player personally. But I think you can't knock his commitment to the NHL. Like he tried to commit to the
You
NHL.
wanted to be, you wanted to be famous.
Well,
in
everybody
America.
has a dream, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to do so.
It's okay to have a dream, Nav.
Are you gonna put in the hard work to make that?
I think he did. I think he did, but he just, you know what? At the end of the day,
I
he
don't
just
think
wasn't
he
good
did,
enough.
Nav. Like,
Was he good enough?
What did we hear about Goldobin aside from this year?
Yeah.
You know, we kept hearing the knocks on his game were his defensive two-way play. Now, if you want to like improve that, you should be taking steps to find the problems and talking to defensive specialists, working on the aspects of your game that actually matter to the coaches in your organization.
I want to know what Gulu has to say about this.
What did he do? He kept his cool. He didn't complain.
Yeah.
He just went about his business.
Thanks, Gulu.
And he didn't really try to change anything. He just played in a weaker competition.
Gulu, what do you think? You haven't said anything for a while.
About what? About Goldobin or
Goldobin and Hoglander.
Well, first of all, I think
he was sleeping.
I think it's cute that you guys think there's going to be a training camp within the next 4 or 5 months. That's the first thing I think. I don't know if there's going to be a training camp. I don't think you can say with certainty that they're going to have a training camp in September.
You're a politician.
But
the Larschcast, we hope
in terms of Goldobin, he had a few chances. I don't think his offensive game was
where it needed to be.
Yeah, it wasn't at the level where his defensive play was overshadowed. You know what I mean? He is a sort of like a two-way player, but his defense, he has a two-way profile, but his defensive game wasn't good enough. I think that maybe speed and strength were his downfall. If he had a motor like Nils Hoglander does, I think it would have been.
Well, now, tell us about your thoughts about Hoglander coming over this year. His commitment to play in the AHL if he needs to. What do you?
It's the path. He's following it, right? I mean, for him to make the NHL, he has to follow the path, just like hundreds of players have done before him. He has to go to the AHL, and if he can perform in the AHL, who knows? He might be on the team within the same season. It might just be 15, 20 games in the AHL, and they feel like, okay, there's an injury in our top six. Let's see what Nils Hoglander can do.
So, anybody else want to add to that train of thought on Nils Hoglander here?
If anybody's wondering what we're laughing about, there's like a side message group that we have, and
it looks like TJ wants me to talk about Tig O.
Tig O what?
Tig O Bites.
Tig O Bites.
Hold on, Brad. What's the picture? Where is that? GoCuba.ca. What the hell is that?
Okay, hey, listen, guys. It's been a while, and this is all new. Okay, I think there's bound to be some breakdowns. I finished my black tea with whiskey stones, and it was delicious tea. So we're coming to that point at the end of the podcast almost. I want to go around the table, open it up to you guys. What do you guys want to talk about? Last 10 minutes here. Brad, you're swimming in the water right now. I can't tell what are you doing there?
He's in the airport, I think.
Yeah, I'm hanging with my buddy here. Look at their costume.
No, it's no laughing matter, but that happened before. That's after COVID, obviously. Right?
Dude, this was this morning. I took this picture.
You took this picture this morning.
Yeah, someone just chilling on the bench dressed.
Travelers.
That's how they're dressed like.
It's like from the thriller video.
Yo, one more take on Goldobin. He'll play in the NHL again.
You think he'll play in the NHL?
He'll probably play a couple
Eventually,
years
yeah.
in the AHL. He'll mature physically a little bit more, and he'll get another chance somewhere.
Is
Not with us.
it one of those things where it's
the
pride
expansion
for
draft
him?
coming?
Lulu, let me ask you: is it one of those things where it's pride for him that he really wants to show everybody that he can make it, or do you think he's because now he's going back home? Like, don't forget when you go back home, a lot of people just go back home like F that, right? I'm done with it. Back home, he's married to. I think he's got a girlfriend from Russia. You know, like why do you think he will come back, go down that path?
I think he's shown in his career that he wants to play in the NHL, and I don't think that he's going to go to the KHL and just be like a middle six performer. I think he'll be a top flight high end player there. And after a couple of years, after the expansion draft, Seattle's in the league, there'll be a team or a GM out there that'll think, hey, this guy can inject some offense into my team. You know, when you have an expansion of your league, what happens is that it dilutes the talent in the entire league, right? And it offers opportunities to players like Goldobin.
Or Louis Eriksson can stay in the league.
Pardon?
Or Louis Eriksson can stay in the league.
I mean, we haven't even talked about compliance buyouts. Like
I know that's for the next pod.
Yeah.
Who knows what's happening, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna happen, but
All right, Sat, what are your final thoughts on anything you want to talk about? You
I
know,
have thoughts. Okay, so when we started this, you asked what we're doing, and I found myself we're playing a lot of online poker with buddies, like Poker Stars, and you know you can set up a little poker room, and it's obviously not the same thing as playing in person, but that got my little my itch going, and I've been looking at custom poker chips for the past like week, and I think I'm gonna make a dive and get some nice custom poker chips, and I might get Larschcast poker chips for myself.
well, that'll be good because I used to. I still it hasn't been happening for a while, but I run a poker game. A lot of you guys.
You run an underground poker game?
I run.
Yeah. How legal is that?
I don't take anything off of it, so it's
No rate?
Hey, I've seen pictures, and I think there's a lot of old biddies there. Okay,
Tiggle something there, and
that's the name of the name. Tiggle old biddies.
Round Croyle and
Round Croyle.
we could use some Larschcast chips, so let's do it.
Yeah, so I'll look into that, and then maybe it's,
that'd be cool. I think
we can sell some poker chip sets with Larschcast chips.
well, honestly, at the end of the day, it's if it's something that you're happy with, because you could do it for memorabilia too, right? But
right. That's that.
Excuse me.
How much do those cost? How much do custom poker chips cost?
For you, I can get you a good price.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Are they coming from?
Carter, what are
like-
your final thoughts on everything? Anything you want to talk about?
They go everywhere, man. Yeah, you go.
Well, I want to talk about Gulu's background. I mean, that's so great.
I didn't even notice he did that. What the hell? That's
Who is
awesome.
this? You're supposed to be socially distancing, dude.
Gulu, don't bend over, man. Don't
Lou,
bend
give him
over.
a kiss on the cheek.
Yo, how do you do that, man?
Ew, why are you picking his nose?
All right.
God.
All I'm gonna say is I'm gonna figure out how to put a background photo up by next time. You guys are all done, buds.
Yo, I've seen your computer. Your computer.
TJ, you have to turn your mic on. Your mic's been off the whole time.
Oh, I'm
Heard
so
of-
sorry about that. Well,
Yo, how-
anyways, the last thing I
how do you
want to
not
say
figure out
about the
Instagram
podcast
Live
here
today?
is
So the best thing about TJ is when he doesn't speak.
That 5 seconds might have been the highest rated part of our episode.
all right, that ends the Larschcast's first Zoom episode, the first of many. I think we're gonna be doing this down the road. This is a new Larschcast format, guys. Unless we come up with something better. Happy quarantine. Everybody stay safe.
Brought to you by Baby Yoda.
Brought to you by Baby Yoda,
Yoda.
by baby gray hairs on Sat's chin, by baby double chin underneath Nav's chin, by baby hairs growing on the side of Carter's head, by
What?
baby Brad's mic in the mic that's in his mouth.
What about
By
you? Somebody-
baby, I don't even know what Gulu's up to there, but everybody have a good night. Thanks for tuning in.